What's up, pluckers and pickers around the world? Welcome to Six String Sit Down. We're here at Maffett Manor. I'm your host, Mitch Wessel, and today I have the majestic Chris Jennings. Alright, man. Hey, man. I appreciate you coming, Chris.
Oh, yeah, of course,
you're
bro.
a busy guy.
Thank you so much for having me. I've never done anything like this before, so this is really cool for me.
Nah, man, we're going to have a lot of fun, man. I know a lot of people are looking forward to it, man, so.
Thanks, bro.
So, first question. How old were you when you started, and what lit the spark?
Well, I was like 14 when I started playing guitar, and a friend of mine had picked up a guitar, guitar lessons from this old guy named David Roberts. And my parents were kind of into the idea of me starting lessons, and I was kind of interested just because my friend was doing it. Yeah. So I got lessons for a little while from David Roberts. He was like this crazy old English guy, and he would kind of talk like this.
Nice.
So we would do like hour and a half. It was so cheap. My parents did lessons for like an hour and a half. I think we were paying like $15.
Nice, can't beat that. That's a deal.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I did that for a couple of years, and I was gonna say the rest is history, right?
Well, yeah. What kind of style was he? What was his forte as a player? Do you remember?
Yeah, we did a lot of classical music. So we did like a lot of fingerstyle guitar, and I'm really grateful for that because nowadays it helps with the finger picking and stuff.
For sure, man. That's a great foundation.
Yeah, it was cool. We did some Beatles stuff too. We had like pop stuff, but most of it was going to be like Carcassi, and I was learning out of like the Node book.
Oh yeah, right. Fun stuff as a kid, right?
Right. It was. Yeah, luckily I stuck with it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So who's your any guitar hero growing up? Who was your guy growing up? Like when we started getting heavy into it.
Well, yeah, I played a lot of Iron Maiden as a kid, and so I loved the guys in Iron Maiden, and I loved Slash and like all these like
all the metal guys and rock guys.
Right, rock guys, metal guys, and later on I kind of have an affinity still for for Slash because he always like is gonna do something that makes you sing it back.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Which is most important too. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so cool. Like when I realized that he became like that. He was already a great guy for me, but he became like this like wow moment.
Right.
Yeah, it was like really cool.
Nice, man. So eventually, you made it into a pop punk band. I love pop punk, dudes. What was that experience like?
Pop punk was cool. We did a lot of shows up in New Jersey, and like we didn't travel too much, but we had like a kind of a small following around Delaware, and it was a lot of fun, man. We were just like in an apartment, kind of like raging and partying and making music, and we were doing our best to figure out what it was to be in a band and what it was to like make money as a band and like start bank accounts and try to, you know what I mean? So that even though it was pop punk and it was like a lot of like people like in mosh pits and stuff like that.
Right.
It was still for us, it was kind of like learning big time.
Exactly.
But for me anyway.
It was a big time school experience and how to book gigs and all that kind of stuff. And
right. Yeah. How to book gigs, how to stay in contact with people, and because everything we were doing it ourselves.
Right.
Yeah. And it was cool to like have Larry, and that was the first time we ever had Larry in a band with us.
Nice.
And so yeah, Larry was a really cool
monster drummer.
Yeah, monster drummer, exactly.
And everything else, bass
and everything, keyboards and bass and everything.
Well, man, eventually, you make it over to the gospel scene. You go from metal, Iron Maiden, and all that, and then you progress to pop punk, and then all of a sudden you're playing. You start playing with artists such as Boots Green and Jay Bratton. How did that affect your style? How did that progress your playing?
It was a big shock to my playing because I didn't really understand music theory, period, like at all at the time. I wasn't really well versed in music theory, and it became very apparent, like very fast in that type of a scene where we're going to be calling out, like we were talking about before, where you need to know the number system, and it's really good to have like a lot of songs under your belt. But it was definitely a shock to my playing, for sure. I had gotten to know this guy, Jermaine, who you know. Yep. And he was the one who sort of introduced me to Boots and introduced me to that style of music, along with Larry, too, because of those two guys. Like, I was able to, break into that scene a little bit and, like, show my face more often. And, it really made the biggest impact on my playing out of all the genres that I've played, for sure. It was, like, the biggest one that was, like, not only the largest challenge, but also it made me the better player of all the groups of genres that you could add onto your own playing.
It's certainly the most eclectic, for sure, and the most demanding. You know what I mean? For your ear and everything. You know what I mean? So
yeah. You need to have like definitely have to have an ear, and of course, like when I was starting out, right, you couldn't hear what I was doing wrong.
Yeah.
And
it's not like a standard 1-4-5 progression.
Right, yeah, you can't.
There's like some diminished in there, some
really
add 9, there's some crazy stuff in there, man.
Yeah. So like by the end of it, I say by the end of it because I'm still like I still play for Boots and I still play for Jay. That stuff really, really helps. Like if you're ever like playing around with it, it really, really makes your playing like 20 times better.
Nice, man. Awesome, dude. Well, so you're also in the last couple of years. I don't know how long you've been teaching for now.
I'm 28 now, so I think I've been teaching for probably, like really professionally teaching probably 6 years or so.
What's that experience been like for your playing, man? What was that like?
It was cool. I had kind of always taught my friends throughout the years and just to like make a couple extra dollars and like introduce people to guitar.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of friends who like still play and from those years and but it was really cool to have consistent students from like sometimes 3 in the afternoon until 9. And it was like by re-explaining some things to kids and sometimes to adults, it kind of like reaffirmed them in my own mind, and it sometimes was there's no teacher there.
Yeah, right.
There's no teacher. We're just learning together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's a big way in how it shaped me, was because it made me realize that like you can literally learn from anybody. Yeah. Even like little kids.
Oh, for
sometimes,
sure.
Especially little kids.
I was actually talking about that with Jordan Demers, who say because they have like such pristine hardware. Their outlook on guitar and life at 9 years old is just, you're like, what? Like it's so much different from us. We're like all we're jaded old guys now.
I know. You're so right, because I remember having like just this piece of crap guitar and just like nothing to play on. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you just found time. You found ways to make it happen. It's really cool.
Nah, that's awesome, man. So you're currently now, you're in a cover band called The Party, where you're traveling, you know, pretty much from what your bio says, all over the country. You know what I mean? You said it's for Miller Lite. It's like a Miller Lite sponsored cover band or something like that.
Yep. We're sponsored by Miller Lite, and we travel all over the country. We did Key West a couple of weeks ago, and I was late getting here today because I drove in from Boston and I was super, super tired. We literally drove all night. So, yeah, that's been one of the coolest experiences because I never did a ton of traveling before. And now, like, you know, every 4 or 5 weeks I'm getting on another airplane. It's really neat.
I was going to ask you about that, man. What's it like, you know, traveling for a gig? Like, as far as, like, your setup, your rig situation, you have to depend on, like, a back line, like an amp when you get there. You can kind of only bring your pedal board and your guitar. What's that whole deal like?
Yeah, the gear situation when you're traveling is always complicated because there's always limited space, especially, like, if you're on an airplane.
Right.
So I try to keep... I actually just got the Helix backpack, which is, like, the coolest thing in the whole world. Before, I had this thing, like, kind of jammed up in a Rondo case that I bought offline and I stuffed with all sorts of nonsense.
Right, to protect it.
Yeah, to protect it. And that was doing okay for a while, but it was a flimsy case and it kind of broke just from wear and tear. But that's like, it's just super important to make sure that your gear is protected because you never know if the plane will, like, fill up with like stuff that people are just bringing on the plane. I say gear, but anything that people bring on the plane, they might have, you know, you and like 6 other people check your bags, whether it was carry on or not.
Yeah.
So then you have to give it to them, and you have to pray
that you're watching out the window. You're watching out the window as it falls off the rolling thing. Like, oh no!
Yeah, you're like looking at the wing the whole time on the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes a big difference, is making sure that you kind of like dot your I's and pack light, right?
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
So you don't end up with tons of laundry or... I know it sounds so
no, but
basic,
I mean, it is. I mean, it's stuff you don't think about till you're out on the road.
Yeah, exactly.
So the cover band now. What's your favorite cover song to play? Now you kind of entered into that world.
Oh man, we do a lot of country songs. And I love playing... I know this might sound a little crazy, but I love playing My Kind of Party by Jason Aldean.
Dude, country is amazing on a guitar level. I mean, the lyrics are, you know, not exactly, you know... It's not Da Vinci Code.
It's not the Da Vinci Code.
But it's, you know... But, I mean, the guitar playing is incredible, dude. I mean, guys like Brad Paisley and all that. Dude, those guys.
Oh, yeah. They're smacking. Monsters. They're smacking on guitar. And really, like... what I love about country is that it's... even though it's a lot of 1-4-6-5 stuff, it's really musical. Like the parts that guitar players especially put down are so in the cracks of the groove.
Yeah. Like
even I played Drunk on a Plane and I showed up for the first time with the old guitar player Tim. And I was playing it wrong. You know what I mean? I was playing like some really basic chords underneath, which is what is in the track. But he played this other part. He played this like something I had not like heard in the song before.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful and so like actually it's this. It's like we're a little out of tune, but that's the part. And it was like eye-opening. You know what I mean? It was like such a perfectly little placed. It's not complicated, it's not difficult. But it's so tidy in the groove.
That's such an important lesson too, man, because we get so caught up, you know, working on our chops and constantly, you know, trying to get better, rightfully so, you know, on our journey, that like sometimes the most simplistic parts are the best, man. You know, the most musical.
Yeah, they can be the most musical, and it has like some cool. The part has like some sus tones.
Yeah.
And it's not always perfect. It's like all 9-fee.
Yeah,
and,
right,
you know,
right.
So it's like passes through the chords. It's a line. It's got extensions. So like it, even though it's all just eighth notes, like 8, 1, 2, and 3, right? But it's so perfect.
It sits in the mix nice. You know?
Oh yeah, I didn't even know it was there.
Well, I guess that might tie into my next question with covers. What was a song that was harder than you thought it was going to be to learn? You know, a song that you were kind of like
Chicken Fried.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chicken Fried. It sounds so again country stuff, but Chicken Fried, the intro.
Yeah.
To Chicken Fried, it starts on beat 2, and it's like really nicely again nicely done. If you can play it, it's right. It's well put together. Has great musical qualities, and it also even throws your ear off to make you think that it starts on beat 1.
Yeah.
And so by the time the intro gets there, you're kind of like, you know what I mean? You get stuck from behind the groove, and you get launched into like beat 1, and really you think you're on the beat before.
And it's all the pressure too, because you're starting the song, you know. It's kind of,
or
it's like
well,
you know what I mean. So it's like, you don't want to train wreck in front of people, you know. It's like, oh, beat 2, you just got to keep going. That's great,
bro. Yeah, I mean that's always part of like what you do have to do as a musician all the time. It's like you're always gonna, I think, be worried about messing up and be a little nervous before you go on stage, but that stuff, like, it really just reminds you that you care about how you sound, you know. So
how do you deal with that kind of stuff, man? I mean, there's so many, you know, I mean, we're all, the way I look at it, I mean, we're all just different, you know, on our own personal journey. It's not a competition. It's all love for music, you know, all that stuff. But how do you deal with the nerves and stuff like that? Do you ever get any jitters or anything like that? Do you kind of, any like really good guitar players are in the crowd, you try to block that out or anything like that? Any of that stuff mess with you?
Yeah, I think it almost messes with me more nowadays than it ever did.
Yeah.
Because like along my guitar journey, I feel like I've met a lot of like really great musicians who I have a lot of respect for, and so, you know, I don't know if it's necessarily nerves that it is. Like when I'm up there and I want to play great, it's like this little boost of energy that's like, hey, there's some real cats around. Like, people are listening to you. You know, make sure that you give people what is best. Like, absolutely do your best that you can possibly do. Don't be lazy. Don't worry about anything. You know what I mean? Don't try to be fearful about what's going to come up, but really give it your all. And usually that's like how I kind of try to conquer it. You know what I mean? Just by visualizing any nervous energy as really like my body giving me a boost of energy. Right, yeah. Like a boost more than like negative, you know?
No, I understand that. And plus the practice room too. I mean, the harder you work in the practice room leading up to it, I guess that probably helps.
Yeah, it does.
You know, quarrel some of that stuff down.
Right, exactly.
I don't know if that's the word, quarrel.
Quarrel.
It works. You guys know something about it.
But yeah, it's great. You have to do practice. You have to practice every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not practicing, you're not
going to use it. If you don't use it, you lose it, man.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It's like guitar is a language, you know, or music is a language, and if you don't speak it for a long time, then you're going to lose pieces of it, and your brain is going to replace it with other information, right? And you're going to all of a sudden be trying to speak Spanish with somebody, and you're not going to be able to remember what all the words are.
You remember that cheat code for N64 from like that time you were in 5th grade, but you can't remember that diminished arpeggio that you need in that solo section. You're like, damn it.
That's so funny.
But so I guess along those lines, man, you know, as a teacher, do you have any advice for someone, you know, striving to progress as a guitarist? You know, any?
Yeah, just don't give up. Like, you know, we all suck at some point. You know, everybody's terrible at guitar at some point, you know. If you want to play music, then you're going to sound really bad at some point.
Shit, every once in a while, even nowadays, every once in a while it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You have an off day.
That's so true, though. Like, that's so true. I sound bad every day.
No, right? Like, get out of here with that. That's great.
No, but, you know, in my own right, like, I hear things about my own playing that I want to improve and realize that just takes time, and that's going to happen progressively as long as you keep your goal before you, right? Yeah. Then things from the outside are not going to mess with you too hard,
right?
Because the goal is there, and like if you mess up on pieces and you have to come back to it multiple days in a row, right? Like then that's just part of the journey. It really is. Like everybody learns at different rates, and everybody is going to progress at different rates.
Yeah.
So yeah, just stick with it. Like don't give up is really like the best advice I could give anybody.
That's solid advice, man.
Thanks,
I can't get no better than that. So we're gonna finish it up, man, with same question I ask everybody. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of guitar? You got to pick 4. I know it's tough, dude. There's so many legends out there. It could be past, present, whatever. You know, any 4.
Wow, Jesus. Well, I definitely want to put Slash up there as a guitar player. For definitely. We were talking about him before, but Eric Johnson.
Sure.
Eric Johnson definitely is an amazing guitar player. I'm trying to think. You know, can I put other players on there too? Because like,
you can put anyone in the world on there, man.
I actually want to put Jermaine Blanford on my
as a
Mount
bassist.
Rushmore.
I get that. Yeah.
I know it sounds so dumb, but like
he's a player that he demands your attention.
Yeah,
he's a tour de force of a great guy, man. He's a good brother.
That's right. And Everett Gray too, for sure, because you know, I've listened to just like maybe even Justice West, but Everett Gray I will put over him because he plays with such feel. He plays like just amazing stuff all the time.
Awesome, man. That's great, dude. Well, hey, even if you put a bass player on there, since it's Jermaine, we'll let it slide. That's the only one we'll let slide, but it's still good. That's good stuff, man. Hey, brother, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate you.